Hello everyone, welcome to another Python tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to talk about while loop. So first, what is while loop? While loop executes a set of statements repeatedly as long as a condition is true. So while loops also loops through a set of statements just like for loop, but the difference is that while loop will keep looping through the statement as long as a condition is true. And because of these requirements, we don't always know beforehand how many loops we are going to go through. This is different than the for loop. In for loop, we usually know beforehand how many times the loop is going to go through. So let's see some simple examples. That way you will understand how to use while loop. In this example, I'm initialize a dummy variable I equals to 0, and over here is how you use a while loop. First you type while, and then followed by a boolean expression, followed by a column. As long as this boolean expression is true, Python will keep executing the statement inside the while loop. So in this while loop, I will first print out the value of I, and then I will keep adding 1 to the value of I, so that I will keep increasing from 0 all the way to 10. Once it reaches 10, this expression is no longer true and we will exit the while loop and finish the execution. So as you can see from the results, the I increased from 0 all the way to 9, but stop it at 9, because once I is equals to 10, this expression is no longer true. Okay, I hope this simple example gives you some idea of how while loop is used. Now let's try to write a game by using a while loop. This is a game of guessing number. So basically, we will generate a random integer from 0 to 100. Nobody knows what the true number is, and the user is going to guess the number until it is correct. So I'm going to initialize these guess variables equals to -1, and inside my while loop, while guess is not equals to a random integer, all this statement will be executed, and because the guess is initialized to be -1, it will never equals to a random integer between 0 and 100. So this statement will always be true in the first loop. Once it is true, we will ask the user to input another guess, convert that into an integer, and if guess is less than the random integer, then we will let the user know that the guess is less than the correct answer, and we will ask them to guess a larger number. Otherwise, if guess is greater than the random integer, we will let the user know the guess is greater than the correct answer. So you should guess a small number. Once we exit the while loop, it means that the guess is equals to a random integer. It means that the user has guessed the correct answer, and then at the end we will print you have guessed the correct answer. So let's try it. I'm going to try 50 first. It's saying 50 is less than the correct answer. I should guess a larger number. So I'm going to try 75 next. I should guess a larger number. Let's try 85. Still larger number. How about 95? Okay, now we know the number should be between 85 and 95. Let me try 90. Smaller, so 88. Smaller, 87. You have guessed the correct answer, the end. So this is a very simple game that you can write by using while loop. Now before we finish the tutorial, there are 3 other statements that I need to quickly go through it. The first one is the break statement. The break statement will break out the while loop completely. So over here I'm giving a very similar examples. The only difference is that inside the while loop I'm adding 2 more lines of code. So if I is equals to 5, I'm going to break out the while loop. Once I add those 2 lines of code, you'll see that we no longer print out integers from 0 to 9. We stop at 4, because once we reach 5, then this expression is true. We will be execute this break statement, which will break out the while loop entirely. So that's how the break statement works. Another statement I want to quickly go through is the continue statement. So continue statement is very similar to break statement, but there is a big difference. Continue statement will break out the current loop, but it will not break out the while loop entirely. It breaks out the current loop but still continues going to execute the next loop. So here is an example. If I is equals to 5, we are going to add 1 to I regardless, and we are going to continue, which means that the rest of the 2 lines inside the while loop will not be executed. So the next time I will equals to 6, and because I is equal to 6 now, these 3 lines of code will not be executed. We will print out 6 and add 6 to 1. So let's see the result. Because when I is equals to 5, we are not printing out I, and therefore in our result we see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but we did not see 5. Because when I is equal to 5, we break out the current loop and then continue to the next loop. Finally, the else statement. Else statement lets you execute a set of statements when the expression of the while loop is no longer true. So the else statement will only execute once at the very last loop when this expression is no longer true. Here is an example. We are going to print out the dummy variable I is no longer less than 10 once this expression is no longer true. So here is the result. Okay, this concludes everything I want to cover on the while loop. Let me know if you have more questions. You can leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, I will see you in my next tutorial. Thank you.